Welcome to the Newseum. I'm Jim Duff, CEO of the Newseum, and we are very thrilled that you're able to be with us this morning. I want to extend a very special welcome to the Japanese Ambassador Sasae and our mayor, Vincent C, who are in the audience and with us. I think there are some members of the DC City Council here as well, Vincent Orange I see, and there may be others, and we welcome you all. We also want to extend a very warm welcome to the media turnout. It's very, very impressive. This is a big day here at the Newseum, and it's a big day in Washington, D.C. Every year around this time, Washington begins to undergo a transformation. The weather should begin to get a little warmer, although Wednesday may be an exception, as we're hearing. But the tourists begin coming into town and to the National Mall, and of course, the anticipation builds over when the cherry blossoms will be in peak bloom. This spring is going to be a particularly exciting time here at the Newseum as we prepare to open two very fascinating new exhibits and premiere an original documentary about President John F. Kennedy and his life, his family, and his legacy. And I hope all of you will have the opportunity to come visit us here again at the Newseum when that exhibit opens on April 12th. Now, for the fifth consecutive year, we're so very, very privileged to honor and host what is headline-making news in this city, and that is the National Park Service's official prediction of the peak blooming time. This is our Groundhog Day in Washington. And as you know, it marks the 101st anniversary of the gift of cherry blossom trees from Tokyo to Washington, D.C. And we're deeply honored that the ambassador is here with us this morning as well. Again, we welcome you to this year's announcement, and we hope you will return many more times to visit us here at the Newseum. And now to get this show started is the president of the National Cherry Blossom Festival, Diana Mayhew. Diana? You're welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jim, very much for once again hosting us. It's always such a pleasure and wonderful venue to be here for this fabulous announcement. We appreciate all the supporters who are here this morning. It's funny, one of the questions I was asked by a reporter, for me to rate as far as iconic events in Washington, D.C., how would I rate the National Cherry Blossom Festival? What do you think I said? Absolutely, number one, and thanks to every single supporter in this room. Spring starts here with the National Cherry Blossom Festival in Washington, D.C., March 20th through April 14th. 3 weeks and 4 spectacular weekends, including the festival's traditional signature events, as well as new and exciting programming. The National Cherry Blossom Festival features world-class performances, arts and culture, fabulous cuisine, sporting events, special tours, and so much more for everyone, for residents and for visitors, to enjoy the festival beyond the blooms. Thanks to our friends at Destination DC, we're ready to welcome our guests. And today we have with us Elliot Ferguson and Board Chair Paul Cohen, so let's welcome them as well today. We offer special hotel packages and personal assistance with information specialists on hand to answer questions and make reservations at the festival's hotline, 1-877-44-BLOOM. We invite residents and visitors to celebrate and engage in the nation's greatest springtime celebration, whether it's participating in Zumba at the Jefferson Memorial, biking through the blossoms, or taking advantage of springtime savings with the festival's pedal pass that you can only get in Capital One Bank. You'll hear more about this year's programs later this morning, but first it's my great pleasure to welcome you today to the city's champion, a great leader and our fantastic supporter, Mayor Vincent C.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Aren't we all here in the pink of health today? That was awful, wasn't it? First of all, I want to thank Diana for the job that she does. She does an absolutely terrific job of organizing every year the Cherry Blossom Festival, and hasn't it grown tremendously, even though it's always been a seminal event for our city, for our nation, and internationally. It has grown tremendously. Diane, I want to thank you for the great work that you do. I also, too, want to recognize Councilmember Vincent Orange, who is here with us today. As you know, I absolutely love your first name, Councilmember Orange. And you are here, you are a regular, and we're delighted that you're here again this year. We also have the dynamic duo who helped to lead our Arts Commission, the Commission on Arts and Humanities in the District of Columbia, our chairperson, Judith Terra, and our executive director, Lionel Thomas, who both of them are here with us today as well. And to our dear friend, the ambassador of Japan, we're delighted that you were here, sir. And of course, to the other dynamic duo, to Elliot and to our good friend who runs the convention center. I always call it the convention center, Greg, because it still is, but it's Events DC, and I know that. And of course, to Jim Duff, who runs this magnificent facility. Thank you all for being here today and being a part of this celebration. DC is the springtime destination for not only the city, but for the nation and for the world. And of course, the Cherry Blossom Festival is the centerpiece of that effort. But it's not only a national and international event, it is a hometown event as well. And more each year, we're doing those things to try to make it something that's embraced by the people of this city. We are a growing city. We now have 632,000 people who live in the District of Columbia. We are growing at the rate of 1,000 to 1,100 people a month. And for those who don't know, we now have a population that's larger than the state of Vermont and a population larger than the state of Wyoming. And we're on our way to the top, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the number of people who live here. And we have increasingly been taking the festival to our neighborhoods as well. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of events that are conducted each year now and will be conducted again this year, to bring about community spirit, community pride, camaraderie, all that goes with bringing people together in a city that is as diverse and complex as this one is. We will plant another, I think, Diane, 150 trees in Oxen Run Park this year to go with the 50 that were planted this year. And one of the things we hope, of course, is through the 40 participating organizations to be able to bring this increasingly to our children so that they understand the importance of this cultural event. We are focusing more and more on getting our DC public schools, our 47,000 students who are in our DC public schools and the nearly 35,000 in our charter schools involved. We're going to have a youth art contest this year. And the winners of that youth art contest will have their work displayed in Union Station, which means that not only will the local folks see it, but the people who come into the District of Columbia using the rail will be able to see it as well. I know that our restaurants, our hotels, all of our volunteers across the city, they will make this a very receptive event for the people who are in the city. And I'm sure, right, Elliot and Greg, we will expect that our hotels and our restaurants will be offering special deals, we hope, for those folks who are in town for the cherry blossoms. We literally have tens of thousands of people who come to this city every year to be a part of this celebration. And again, we were delighted this morning to have our fantastic, our world-renowned Ballou High School marching band that was here. Come on, give it up for our young people. Ballou was one of the few high schools chosen to march in the inaugural parade just a few weeks ago. And of course, we are proud of them every day, and we were especially proud of them then. Maya, our local Grammy award-winning songstress, will be a part of the activities here. and there will be lots of activity over the 3 weeks, from March 20th until April 14th. And we hope that we get all the snow, if there is to be any, we get it out of the way this week. We promise that there will be no snow anytime between March 20th and April 14th. And if you believe that I have the ability to know that, I got a few other things I'd like to sell you after this program is over. In any event, thank you all so much for coming out today. Thank you so much for being a part of this important celebration. It helps to define who we are in the nation's capital, the District of Columbia. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gray. And I have to tell you, the Baloo will be also in the National Cherry Blossom Festival Parade on April 13th. One thing about the Youth Poster Art Contest this year, it's a very special theme. It is to protect, what can we do to protect the cherry blossoms? So not only we're celebrating spring and the cherry blossoms through this poster contest, but how do you protect or give the message that this is a very special treasure? And I don't think I'm allowed to say some of my favorites that are coming in, but there's some amazing designs and art posters that are coming in. And you can actually vote online. I think it'll be a public voting with the Washington Examiner, so look out for more information about that. But it definitely brings tears to my eyes, some of the seeing the festival through children's eyes. It's now my great pleasure to introduce to you another fabulous supporter of the National Cherry Blossom Festival and of the city. And celebrating this year will be a nice anniversary. The Walter E. Washington Convention Center will be 10 years old this year. So let's welcome Greg Odell, President and CEO of Events DC.
Thank you, Diana. Good morning. I know you all can do better than that. Good morning. That's much better. First, to the mayor, to the ambassador, to Councilmember Orange, and to all our distinguished guests. On behalf of Events DC, which is a convention and sports authority for the city, we're delighted again to partner with the National Cherry Blossom Festival. As was mentioned by the mayor, and I too want to congratulate Diana and her team on a fantastic job for not only sustaining, but growing this wonderful event for city. So please give Diana another round of applause. So our partnership with the festival really epitomizes our mission. It's really about creating wonderful, spectacular experiences for the city, but also promoting cultural awareness for the city as well. Equally important, as the mayor mentioned, it drives enormous economic benefit for the city. Last year alone, with 1.5 million people coming to the festival, generated nearly $170 million in economic impact for the city. So as the mayor said, in our business, for hotels, that's a lot of heads and beds. And for restaurants, it's a lot of butts and seats, so we're very excited about that. But really, it really is about also generating a lot of jobs for our residents for the city. So again, as Diana has mentioned, and I'm here to say it again, DC owns the spring with the National Cherry Blossom Festival, and we're really proud to participate. On a final note, as was mentioned by Diana, it is our 10-year anniversary for one of our signature buildings in Washington, DC, and that is the Walter E. Washington Convention Center. So for us, we're going to celebrate that by our float this year in the Cherry Blossom Festival Parade. We'll be celebrating that. I'm not sure how we're going to do that. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to look, but we're very excited to participate in it. Thank you all, and we hope we have a wonderful, amazing festival again for this year. Thank you, Diana.
As you know, I stand up here, I'm the face sometimes, but there is a lot of people behind the team of the National Cherry Blossom Festival, and I would like to take a moment to thank my staff. If everybody can wave or stand or something, I think you all are standing. That put this together year after year after year. It's a fabulous team effort. As well as that support that we have year after year is our fabulous board of directors. And at this time, I'd like to introduce to you the chairman of the board for the National Cherry Blossom Festival, Chris Rohrer, who also in her day job is the director of marketing and communications for guest services.
Good morning, everybody. Mr. Ambassador, distinguished guests, thank you so much for joining us. It's so good to be here today. And I just want to bring the message that the National Cherry Blossom Festival continues to spread its branches beyond the blooms. We're moving ahead with the new tradition of bringing festival spirit to the entire region with the City in Bloom program, which is presented by Capital One Bank. City in Bloom brings the festival to the DC metro area in a very, very visual way. It unites and energizes us with pink blossom lighting, vibrant banners, thank you, bright blossom decals, and so much more. You saw a preview of City in Bloom as you entered the Newseum this morning, in addition to the fabulous Baloo Band. And during the festival, the outside of this building will be bathed in a beautiful pink glow. And this year, this is very exciting, City in Bloom goes global. The Hard Rock Cafe in Tokyo will be lighting in pink, and this will be timed to coincide with our lightings here. So, we're moving up. Anyone can join City in Bloom, and we would absolutely love it if you did. So you can learn more at nationalcherryblossomfestival.org. We hope you will log on and find out more about the program. Another way to enjoy the festival this year is with the Pedal Pass. This is a fantastic opportunity for savings at all kinds of restaurants, retailers, other outlets, and this too is brought to you by Capital One Bank. The free Pedal Pass offers savings at restaurants, retailers, fitness centers, and more. It's only available through Capital One, but you can get one at one of their 225 branches. So be sure to get yours, and you can enjoy the festival that much more. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the 2013 Goodwill Ambassadors. These wonderful young adults act as cultural liaisons, and they represent the festival at official events throughout the area. Thank you, big thanks to Thomas Pink for their beautiful outfits today. They look absolutely terrific. So, and maybe they would stand when I call your name. We start with Sarah Baccaros, who's a senior at George Washington University. Frank Baptista, who's a sophomore at American University. Christina Blacker, junior at George Mason University. Aaron Freitas, a senior at George Washington University. Miyu Fujita, who's a sophomore at Georgetown. Yu Hashimoto, who is a sophomore at American University. Stephen Stepchinsky, who's a graduate of Georgetown. And Samantha Ufret, a sophomore at American University. Good luck, guys. You're in for the ride of your life. So for helping support the festival and its great programming, we offer deep, deep thanks to Leadership Circle member Events DC and the rest of our 2013 host sponsors. We have Safeway, Capital One Bank, the Washington Examiner, Sucampo Pharmaceuticals, PenFed, the Downtown DC Business Improvement District, AKA the Downtown BID, the National Building Museum, and Trade Center Management Associates. Thank you also to the National Park Service, who are stewards of the trees and a festival partner. Thanks to the Board of Directors. They are a very, very dedicated group. On behalf of the board, I want to thank again the amazing staff of the festival, without whom none of this would ever happen. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the Embassy of Japan. They're a wonderfully collaborative participant and supporter of the festival. They help us each year with the annual celebration of the Gift of Trees from Tokyo to Washington, D.C. And it is now my great pleasure to introduce Ambassador Kenichiro Sasae, Ambassador of Japan, who will tell us a little bit more about the Embassy of Japan's engagement in the festival. Mr. Ambassador.
Well, thank you, Chris, and also Diane. Good morning, everyone. My name is Cherry Blossom, Ambassador of Japan. I'm putting on pink tie I never put on pink tie in my life before. So it's a great pleasure to be here. And also, thanks to press corps here today. We like to see you coming out just like a cherry blossom, you know. And the reason is that we have many things we hope you will cover this year. You have already heard about the activity just explained this year, and you will also hear from Mr. Perry of National Park Service about the blooming predictions. Mr. Perry is our version of Punk's Satani Phil. You know, if Mr. Perry sees his shadow, the blossom will be late, and if he doesn't, they will be early. So every spring, the Cherry Blossom Festival has its traditions, and we have the lantern lighting, and the crowning of Queen and the Princess, and the parade, and many other activities. What we Japanese ambassadors try to do is extend the feeling of the friendship that the Cherry Blossom Festivals generate to the entire year. We try to expand its meaning from one-time event to year-round awareness. I believe the festival can be a catalyst for deeper and wider exchanges between our two countries, but it can also make a difference in small ways. Imagine a little American boy or girl watching the parade and seeing something that excites or intrigues or connects. Something is planted, and Japan and Japanese people have never again seen as foreign as once they did. As for adults, the gift of the cherry trees all these years ago is an easy thing to understand. The gift of a tree is a such simple act, and it is a sign of friendship that we understand 101 years later. We understand it across cultures, oceans, and time. In a few weeks, we will celebrate its meaning once again. And so in closing, let me just say on behalf of Japanese government and Japanese people, we are so proud that these cherry trees have such a prominent and heartfelt place in this beautiful capital of Washington, and that they continue to illustrate the friendship between the two countries and people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Sasae. We're so happy to be working with you and with your entire embassy team. We're so glad that you're not tired of us yet. As we said, March 20th, first day of spring, we celebrate the National Cherry Blossom Festival. Beyond the tidal basin, we, of course, welcome visitors to the tidal basin. At the paddle boat area, there's a welcome area that is sponsored by the National Park Service as well as guest services, providing welcome area concessions, visitors, tours, visitor ranger talks. And then when we get beyond the blossoms throughout the city, throughout the bids, throughout the neighborhoods. As a matter of fact, today we have Rich Bradley from the Downtown Bid here with us this morning. Thank you, Rich. Rich is a huge supporter of the festival for many years. Michael Stevens from the Capitol Riverfront Bid. We are so happy to be all over the city to share this wonderful event. The first event on March 20th is a Pink Tie Party, our springtime event and also fundraiser for the National Cherry Blossom Festival. And we are holding that this year at the Renaissance Washington, D.C. Hotel, and look forward to having everybody there. Tickets are still on sale. This is presented to you by Sucampo Pharmaceuticals, as well as Escada Cherry in the Air. The festival will be, the Pink Tie Party will be hosted. We're so excited to announce Chef Lorena Garcia, author of a cookbook, as well as a contestant on Top Chef Masters. And there will be over 30 restaurants that will be there. Just go to the website and you'll get any information you need about tickets. The opening ceremony for the first time will be held Saturday, March 23rd at Warner Theater. in honor and the tradition and the anniversary of this gift of trees from Tokyo to Washington, D.C., presenting world-class performances from the United States as well as from Japan. We're featuring Andy Grammer, Chihiro Yamanaka, Namai Iwata from the Juilliard School of the Arts. That will be a fabulous event. Tickets are free, but you do need to get them ahead of time. Family Days on March 23rd and 24th, presented with the National Building Museum, sponsored by Safeway. Again, 2 days of family activities. Blossom Kite Festival, Saturday, March 30th. Demonstrations from master kite makers from around the world. Public fields, hands-on activities. And new this year, grand prize for adult kite making competition will be two round-trip tickets to Turkish Airlines. The Cherry Blast returns for the 5th year. The exciting art and music dance party is on March 29th. Saturday, April 6th, the much anticipated Southwest Waterfront Fireworks Festival, produced with Washington Waterfront Association as well as Hoffman-Madison Waterfront. 8 hours of fun, activities, music, 3 stages, and at nightfall, the fireworks presented by Safeway and the Washington Examiner. The National Cherry Blossom Festival, a much welcome favorite, is on Saturday, April 13th, with Grammy Award-winning artist and DC native Maya, Elliot Yaman from American Idol, marching bands from around the country, and lots more. This year, for the first time, the parade will be broadcast on WSA 9, the festival's parade media partner, so we welcome them this year. Over 90 restaurants participate in the Cherry Picks restaurant program with the Restaurant Association of Metropolitan Washington. The program is presented by PenFed, the official credit card of the 2013 National Cherry Blossom Festival. On Saturdays during the festival, you'll enjoy group-led entertainment. You can get up and get fit and get exercise down to Jefferson Memorial. I think the first Saturday is Zumba, so start practicing. Check out the schedule and see how you can participate as well. There are many activities, many details. I won't go through them today, but you can, again, go to the website, and at the end of this conference, I'll tell you all the other ways to get information. Again, we have another speaker before we have our blooming prediction. Ambassador John Malat, President of the Japan America Society of Washington, will talk to us about the Japanese culture and special events that are brought to you by several other organizations.
Thank you very much, Diana. Good morning, everyone. When I woke up this morning, I realized that this is the 8th year that I've come to one of these press conferences. And like all of you, I think I always look forward to hearing about all the wonderful things that are going to happen and to hear the prediction for the peak bloom. But on a personal note, I always look forward to adding one more pink tie to my collection. And this really, it's doubly pink this year because it's from Thomas Pink. Mr. Ambassador, like you, I had never worn a pink tie in my life until I became involved with the festival. But trust me, by the time you finished your assignment in America and you go home to Japan, you'll have a collection like this as well. Last year, we celebrated the 100th anniversary of Japan's gift of the trees. So the question is, what do we do for an encore? And the answer is we keep going, and we continue to lay the foundation for another century of friendship between the United States and Japan. The National Cherry Blossom Festival celebrates many things: the arrival of spring, the beauty of our great city, and our connection to Japan. It's a good time to remember the great impact and influence that the American and Japanese people have had on each other's cultures and on each other's lives, going back even more than 1 century. As always, our town is going to be filled with Japan. And there's a new event this year called The Taste of Japan. It's a celebration of Japanese food and drink on April 4 at the Carnegie Library. The city's finest Japanese restaurants will provide the cuisine, and there will be lots of sake and craft beer from Japanese breweries. The proceeds will help support the festival, and I know that tickets will go very, very fast. The SNR Foundation is expanding its Overtures series with musical performances by world-class and emerging artists from Japan and around the world, such as jazz pianist Keiko Matsui. They will perform at the Kennedy Center and at the historic Evermay Mansion and other venues around town. This year marks the 15th annual Freedom Walk. It will be held on April 6th. It's sponsored by the National Japanese American Memorial Foundation and the American Patriots of the Japanese American Veterans Association. The Freer Gallery is exhibiting art from Japan's Edo period, which goes back over 400 years. And there will be many, many more displays of Japanese and international culture throughout the time of the festival. For us at the Japan America Society, we're looking forward to hosting the 53rd annual Japanese Street Festival, the Sakura Matsuri. It is the biggest Japanese festival in the United States and the biggest Japanese festival in the world outside Japan. And it's right here in Washington, D.C. during the National Cherry Blossom Festival, down the street on Pennsylvania Avenue on April 13, right after the parade. 101 years ago, some very far-sighted people, both Americans and Japanese, came together and gave us a wonderful gift. As we begin the next century of friendship, I'm confident that from this year forward, the National Cherry Blossom Festival, this great springtime celebration, will continue to build and strengthen the ties and friendship between our two countries. Thank you very much.
Okay, so when you all get used to wearing the pink ties, this is next. We just ease you into this. We have lots of wonderful merchandise this year. I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if some of you saw the different samples that we had upstairs. The merchandise you also can purchase online or at the Tidal Basin through guest services or at Union Station. The festival merchandise helps fund the festivals to keep our events and programs predominantly free and open to the public. So we will have, we'll try to get something a little more manly, but this we're almost sold out of these and we just put them out there. So many more events that you didn't hear about, lots of ways to get information. If you see on your seats, we have the commemorative guide that is produced by Ware as our partner, so we appreciate that they are done already, ready to go, so you get a head start of what it looks like with the festival, the different events. Thank you very much, Rick Molyneux. I think you're here today. Also, coming out in a few weeks, our festival official guide will be in the Examiner newspapers. You can pick up information at area Capital One banks, at Safeway as well. Call the hotline, 877-44-BLOOM. Download the festival app. Visit, you'll get lots of information, Twitter and Facebook. So we are information services. We'll have everything at your fingertips. The National Park Service, this is what you've all been waiting for, so I won't talk much longer. The National Park Service, who is, of course, a festival partner, who takes very good care of the cherry trees for over 100 years. They're here with us today, and we're very proud at this point to introduce to you Steve Lorenzetti, the Deputy Superintendent, Planning, National Memorial Parks. Please come up, and you can do the honors of introducing James.
Thank you, Diana. All guests, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Gray, Mayor Gray. I'm hoping if we keep on thanking Diana, we'll finally get her to blush pink to match her scarf. The National Park Service is a very proud partner of the National Cherry Blossom Festival on what we consider to be the nation's greatest springtime celebration. As I'm the last speaker before the prediction, I'll keep this as brief as I can. We at the National Mall and Memorial Parks are proud to take care of the cherry trees in our park in the work that we do to teach the public about their history and significance. We are grateful for partners like the National Cherry Blossom Festival who help us spread the message throughout the country and the world about the importance of conserving these natural and cultural resources. Every year our staff works to make the festival better than it was before, and this year is no different. Our interpretive staff will be offering cherry bicycle rides, jogging tours, and midnight walks around the tidal basin, along with talks about the history and culture of the cherry trees. This year, we'll even have a pet-friendly walk. I'd like to especially recognize the National Park Service's tree crew, who are the unsung heroes of this annual celebration. They were to be here today, but they're actually out working on the trees as we speak. It is because of their hard work that millions of our visitors can enjoy the fleeting beauty of these trees each spring. Over the years, they have planted hundreds of new trees, have maintained the old trees so well that some of the trees originally planted from 1912 are still around to enjoy. The cherry trees and their blossoms symbolize both tradition and change, and we at the National Park Service are particularly aware of the importance of both of these this year. Rob DeFeo, who was the official prognosticator for the cherry blossom peak bloom for the last 2 decades, retired from the Park Service last year. He will be sorely missed and will be a hard act to follow. But as surely as winter turns to spring, the cherry blossoms will bloom, and it is our job to tell you when. Rob has passed the torch to James Perry, our new Chief of Resource Management for the park. He has some big shoes to fill, but I know he is up to the job. I'd like to welcome our new Park Service Predictor-in-Chief, and I guess everyone's been saying Paksani Phil, so I'll skip that one this time. I'll go with a younger reference, our new Professor Trelawney, James Perry.
Thank you, Steve, and I want to especially thank you for not calling me Puxatawny Phil again, even though when the ambassador does that, I take it as a compliment, and thank you also for explaining what seeing my shadow would mean or would not mean. The cherry blossoms are a remarkable resource. We all love them and care for them very deeply, and what is particularly intriguing about the cherry blossoms to me as a resource manager is the fact that they straddle the line between being a natural resource and a cultural resource. Obviously, the significance of our friendship with Japan and what these cherry trees have meant to the development of our city and the planning that goes along in Washington, D.C. simply cannot be overstated. So they're truly remarkable resources that I can assure you the National Park Service takes their preservation and maintenance extremely seriously. And we're certainly glad to be here for the 101st time to talk about their blossoming. When we are talking about the cherry blossom blooming, we use a couple terms that I wanted to define at the start. We'll talk about the blooming period, which is the time where we see about 20% of the blossoms out, and that blooming period lasts until all the blossoms have fallen off the tree. Usually a few days after the blooming period has begun, we'll reach the peak blossoming period, which is when 70% of the cherry blossoms are out, and most people consider that to be the time to be out and about along the tidal basin or Haynes Point and the other places in the park. And obviously when we take into account making an estimate or a prediction when that might occur, we take a lot of factors into account. Obviously, after 100 years, we have good documentation for what things to look for, what certain indicators, what stage of development the buds might be in, as well as the weather forecast. Because ultimately, it's up to Mother Nature when the blossoms come and how long they last and when they do go. And as far as 2013, I'm very pleased to announce that we are predicting that for the 12th year in a row, the cherry blossoms will reach their peak bloom in the midst of the Cherry Blossom Festival. So we have to give credit to the planners and organizers for knowing exactly when to schedule this special time. So our estimate of the peak bloom for the cherry blossoms this year is between March 26th and March 30th. Obviously, we will be watching the weather forecast very closely, but we're confident that that is the time where we'll see 70% plus of the blossoms in bloom this year. So we all have something to look forward to in a few weeks. And finally, I just wanted, as Steve mentioned, we have lots of exciting programs going on in the park, and of course, throughout the festival in large, but the National Park Service has a special website up and running, which is www.nps.gov/cherry. Pretty easy to remember, and you'll find everything from a webcam on there to schedules of all the great ranger programs. So I hope folks will be able to take advantage of that and help our visitors to Washington, D.C. understand and appreciate all the great things happening. So thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Jim. And just to remind you, peak blooming is just those 70%, but there's usually some before and sometimes a long time after, depending on the weather. So we'll be looking for that. Again, we want to thank Jim, the Newseum. Thank you very much for having us here, the Newseum staff, the National Cherry Blossom Festival staff, all of the supporters who are here. We could not do this without the investment of your time and your dollars to keep this going year after year. And also very special to Sage Communications for helping us bloom our morning with all these wonderful designs and the cherry blossoms. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and we'll see you all in a few weeks. Thank you.